This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Certainly wasn't the prettiest of wins for our Milwaukee Brewers, but they get the job done. They maintain pace in the National League Central. A big win on the road to kick things off in Pittsburgh in Game 1 of their 3-game series. A 5-2 victory. We're breaking it all down. Quinn Priester absolutely shoving on the mound. We'll talk about him. Jake Bauers coming up clutch for our Brewers offense. We'll talk about that, and we mentioned it. The Brewers maintaining pace in the National League Central after tonight's results, after the Chicago results over Washington, a 5.5-game lead in the National League Central Division. Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST. As always, my name is Brandon Snide. You can follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Brandon_Snide. Follow all my work over at WTMJ.com. As always, the Locked On Brewers POSTCAST is free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon. Wherever you get audio podcasts, you can get this very program. And once again, we are free and available. Also free and available on YouTube. Go to that search bar, type in Locked On Brewers, hit that subscribe button for me, hit that notification bell, get notified when we go live, and make sure you smash the thumbs up. Give the thumbs up tonight for the Brewers, a 5-2 victory. Your thoughts, your reactions. We'll get to the player of the game, and we'll get to the turning point as well. But your thoughts and your reactions, and of course, 5-2 win. You guessed it. Your celebrations welcomed on the program this evening. Let's get into the scoring summary brought to you by 5 Hour Energy and Zip Picks, and a good start in this game offensively for the Milwaukee Brewers. Getting on base early, causing some havoc on the base pass. An error would allow the Brewers to get an early run in this one, a 1-0 advantage in the first inning. That would be a fielding error by third baseman Trujillo, and had a couple of errors out there for Trujillo, but the Brewers would score. Bryce Terrain crossing the plate, given Quinn Priester, who got the start for the Brewers, as we have mentioned, giving him some early run support in this one, a 1-0 advantage. Nothing for the Pirates in the bottom half of the first, into the top half of the second. Nothing for the Brew Crew, and the pesky Pittsburgh Pirates entering tonight have been playing some pretty good baseball, including a couple of big series wins against Toronto, against the Dodgers. So the pesky Pirates getting on the board in the second and third inning off of an O'Neill Cruz single. That would play to run, tie things up in the second. In the third, Tommy Pham would hit a double. That would score Brian Reynolds. That would give the Pittsburgh Pirates, going into the sixth inning, a 2-1 lead, and things just not looking good for this Milwaukee Brewers offense. We had talked about the 0 for 10 on Thursday, and things, guys, in this one were just not looking great until the turning point in this game. Jake Bauers coming up to the plate with 2 outs, 2 strikes, and quite the delivery for Mr. Bauers.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It felt so huge in this moment, and I put it on my Twitter account at Brandon_Snide. You had guys on second and third base, William Contreras and Sal Frelick, both of those guys, each at one at second, one at third, and it felt like such a big moment in this game. They got there with less than 2 outs. Then it was an Andrew Vaughn strikeout, and then Jake Bauers coming up to the plate, and I put it on Twitter. I said, if they don't score here, like, this is the moment. This is going to be, and I said it without basically saying it, this was going to be the turning point in this one. If the Brewers didn't score in this moment, in my head, I already was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done this evening. And with runners in scoring position, 1 for 16 at one point after this Jake Bauers hit that we'll talk about, they finished 3 for 20 on the night. So we'll dive into that. But Jake Bauers, a 2-out, 2-strike, 2-run RBI single to right center. That would plate those 2 runs. That would give the Brewers a 3-2 advantage. And the way that Quinn Priester was dealing on the mound, and we'll talk more about Quinn as the show goes on, you felt so much better about the trajectory of where this game was heading, because it certainly felt bleak in big moments, especially as we mentioned, with runners in scoring position and this Brewers team unable to deliver. It's been very un-Brewers-y like over the course of the last couple of weeks. Certainly with runners in scoring position, a big part of the game yesterday in a 2-0 loss was that you weren't unable to score with 10 opportunities at the plate. Weren't able to get anybody in and leaving too many runners on base, but not the case for the Brewers. They shut down the Pirates in the bottom half of the 6th. Nothing for either one of these teams in the 7th. Bryce Terrain, who has just been absolutely marvelous for this team, got his average up to 292, 2 for 5 tonight, including an RBI single to left field in the 8th inning. That would score the hero of the 6th inning, Jake Bauers. And then in the Pittsburgh Pirates kind of throwing the ball around in the infield in the 9th inning. That would be a wild throw from second baseman Gonzalez. That would score Andrew Vaughn would get on base. That would score who would that score there? William Contreras would score on a wild throw. That would give the Brewers a 5-2 lead. And my guy, Abner Uribe, shutting things down in the 9th inning. 3 up, 3 down for Abner Uribe, securing save number 5 for the Brew Crew on the season. And I think you guys have heard me talk about, these game ones of a 3-game series. And certainly it's a team that the Brewers have had, they've had the Pirates numbers. Like, they've been the better team over Pittsburgh over the course of a handful of years now. And, getting on the right, setting the tone early in this series. And again, this is a series that I think all of us will agree you have to win, right? Chicago hosting the Nationals. We can kind of assume where that series is going to go, but this one important for our Milwaukee Brewers to get off on a good start, maintain pace within that National League Central Division, right? You got 20 games left, a 5.5 game lead, that the magic number continues to sort of dwindle down. It feels like little by little, just pecking away with this Brewers team, but you want to continue to play good baseball, put yourself in good position. No Christian Yelich again in this one for Milwaukee. There was some hope earlier in the week that Christian Yelich, due to the back soreness, might see some action. We'll see if that changes things going into game 2 tomorrow night in Pittsburgh. Nick Mears, we talked about this bullpen, guys, and we're going to talk about this bullpen because we'll talk about it here shortly, and you can kind of assume where I'm going with the bullpen tease there. Nick Mears finding himself now retroactively on September 2nd going on the injured list with back soreness. So the bullpen kind of taken a handful of hits lately. We talked about the Shelby Milner injury. That's essentially shutting down his season, possibly career, given the recovery and what he's looking at going forward. And then we mentioned Trevor McGill as well. So hopefully Trevor having some bullpen sessions, throwing on a mound, hopefully good things going forward for Trevor McGill. But we'll certainly talk about somebody that the bullpen should be thanking tonight. He's going to be your Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game coming up after this. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast is brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. The grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies and making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the golf course or if you're like me, just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without ever leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up for fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for your chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the U.S. This does exclude the Masters tournament. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase is necessary. Today's Locked On Brewers postcast also brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or another energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, it provides a discreet way to satisfy those cravings in the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. It can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligrams of nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. A 5-2 game one of their 3-game series victory for our Milwaukee Brewers. 87-55 after tonight's victory. And without further ado, let's get into your Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game and a 5-2 win.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
We've talked about it. It feels like almost every game now for the last 2 weeks or so. We have mentioned the injuries to the Brewers bullpen. Shelby Miller, now Nick Mears, Trevor McGill, hopefully seeing him back in a Brewers uniform on the mound once again, healthy. We have talked about at length starters needing to go 6, maybe dip into that 7th. Give your bullpen a little bit of a break. And Quinn Priester, who is a big fan of the Locked On Brewers postcast, delivering tonight for our Brew Crew. We mentioned the turning point was Jake Bauers. He's an honorable mention for player of the game. But when you toss, and I don't care who you play, but 7 straight innings of great baseball was Quinn Priester tonight, only allowing the 2 earned runs for Pittsburgh and 6 strikeouts along the way. Quinn Priester gets the honors for the Locked On Brewers postcast player of the game. After tonight, since August 15th, okay, so you got to go back, what is that, 20 days or so, 21 days or so, about 3 weeks. The Brewers bullpen has thrown the most innings in baseball, 88 2/3 innings now since August 15th has this Brewers bullpen thrown the most in Major League Baseball. Quinn Priester getting exactly what this team needed, right? A depleted bullpen, right? We got Grant Anderson, Nick Mears, Trevor McGill, Shelby Miller, all those guys played key moments throughout the course of this season. Obviously, Trevor McGill, the all-star. Shelby Miller, before the injury, was fantastic in his back end in Arizona and had big moments in a Milwaukee Brewer uniform. Nick Mears has kind of been kind of putting out all the fires all season long for the Brewers, but Quinn Priester delivering 7 strong for this Brewers bullpen, for this Brewers team, helping them get to the 5-2 win. And then Jake Bauers, right? Again, honorable mention, delivering the big hit in the 6th inning with 2 outs, 2 strikes, and helping give Quinn Priester his 12th win of the year. This team just doesn't lose when Quinn Priester pitches. And you got to go all the way back, guys, to May 24th. Believe it or not, the last time Quinn Priester pitched in a ball game where the Brewers lost, and believe it or not, was against this Pittsburgh Pirates team, and believe it or not, was a fantastic performance for Quinn. They just lost the game 2-1 where he threw 6 innings and allowed just 2 earned runs. But it was Quinn Priester, again, tonight, putting the team on his back, as it seems like he has really, as we mentioned, since later part of May, and has just been absolutely lights out for this Brewers team. Always kind of comes up clutch too when they need him the most. Quinn Priester continues to dominate, continues to win for us. His 12th win of the season, 12-2, his ERA down to 3.25 after tonight's ball game. Now, the bad news on all of that is that this game probably should have been a 10-2, a 8-2 win. It was 5-2. You got the win. 12 people left on base today for the Brewers offense. We had mentioned at one point in this game, 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Jake Bauers in the 6th inning, snapping at, combining Thursday and tonight. The Brewers before that, Jake Bauers 2-out RBI 2-run single, were 0 for 19 with runners in scoring position. It just wasn't good. Tonight they finished 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position. Jake Bauers delivering the big hit we talked about. Bryce Terrain delivering the big hit, and then Andrew Vaughn helping cross the, I believe it was Sal Frelick scoring there in the 9th on a wild throw from Gonzalez at second base. So getting the bat on the ball in those key moments, that's something that this team continues to kind of struggle with going forward. 3 for 20 is not going to get the job done. 0 for 10 on Thursday, certainly not going to get the job done. The Brewers obviously benefiting tonight, being able to have key runs in key moments for this game, and the Brewers holding on for the 5-2 win. Your thoughts, your reactions, and of course, your celebrations are always welcomed on the program. We begin with our everydayer, Nick. There we go. I'm not thrilled with Bauers in the lineup, but he did come in clutch tonight. Give Priester the player of the game. Playoff caliber pitching that saved the pen. Let's go, crew. Nick, fantastic, because I think you summed up the Locked On Brewers postcast in about 30 seconds there, and I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. Like, this is, Rhys Hoskins, I think, is going to be back, sooner rather than later. I believe they said the 9th of September is kind of the target date area. But again, not a lot of people were impressed with Thursday's lineup. I've kind of thrown out caring about the Brewers lineup, because it seems like anything I doubt about this team, they kind of figure out a way to fix it and get it going. And I have, honestly, I just have not really cared what the lineup is, because they've proven me wrong. Like, when I did care about it, things just started to turn around in June and July. And obviously in August, they were the best team in baseball and have surged to the best team in baseball. And keep in mind, guys, everybody's still chasing the Brewers, even though all these struggles that I've mentioned, right? 3 for 20 with runners in scoring position, 0 for 10 on Thursday in that 2-0 loss. Things obviously can be, talked about as not always being positive, but the big thing, the big picture, this team is still finding ways to win games. They're still the best team in baseball. The Cubs still trail the Brewers by 5.5 games. So there's still good things going in the right direction for this Brewers team. And one of those good things, and it kind of goes to Nick's point, it doesn't matter who's in the lineup. Hasn't matter who's hurt. It just doesn't matter. This team learns to get it done and figures things out. Joe over on YouTube, great to see the boys bounce back. Should be an exciting series this weekend. Hopefully put more space between us and the Phillies and the Cubs. I don't know if we'll get any space between the Cubs unless the Nationals can do us a big favor. But the thing about it is right now is the Brewers should just worry about the Brewers, right? There's other teams should be worrying about the Brewers. It shouldn't be the other way around. And I understand what you're saying, Joe. And I definitely agree to a certain extent, because I'm scoreboard watching. I'm making sure I'm paying attention, seeing what's happening. I don't want to see that lead in the National League Central Division dip below 5 games, but worry about the Brewers, worry about getting healthy, worrying about this team hitting and playing better situational baseball, putting the ball in play. And look, like when they went on that 14-game win streak, when they went on that 11-game win streak, like it wasn't always pretty, right? Like they found ways to put the ball in play and good things happen, right? Putting pressure on opposing pitchers, putting pressure on opposing defenses, being aggressive on the base pass. That's what's made this team the best team in baseball. Obviously, you got to have good hitting and situational big moments, and obviously pitching and bullpen are a big part of it. But this team hasn't been healthy all year. Like, this isn't anything new. Like, they haven't been healthy all year. The offense has kind of been up and down. It feels like certainly all year. Like, during those win streaks, it wasn't always pretty. They weren't winning 10-2, every other game. But they were finding ways to get it done. And that's what we saw tonight, a 5-2 win. And Quinn Priester helping deliver for the Brewers on the mound. Everydayer Charles over on YouTube. Just enough clutch hitting tonight. Missed quite a few runners in scoring position chances, but they did just enough to get the win. Would have been a shame to waste a beautiful start from Quinn Priester. They wasted the Freddie Peralta start yesterday, although you would like to see Freddie go a little bit longer than 5 innings. But nonetheless, Freddie did a fantastic job yesterday. Got no run support. But you're absolutely right. Quinn Priester you guys know, if you are everydayers from the beginning of the show, when the Brewers made that trade for Quinn, who, by the way, was pitching against his old team this evening, one of his old teams this evening, I was all about it. And I trust Matt Arnold. I trust the pro scouting department for our Brewers. I trust that they're going to make the right decisions more times than not. And I always thought Quinn had the goods. It just needed a little bit of time, right? And it was rough, right? Certainly with that Chicago series in May, but then things started to kind of click. And really, you go back to the last time he lost, which we talked about, was back on May 24th against this Pirates team, and he pitched a great game as well in that outing. And tonight, no different, sitting the last 11 hitters in a row for the opposing offense this evening did Quinn. So a fantastic performance for Quinn Priester. Everydayer GCAP over on YouTube. Now that is what I call a bounce back win. Was about to turn the game off right when Bauers finally came up clutch. What a performance by the Priest. Let's get the sweep now and get back to playing Brewers baseball. Yeah, I mean, start with getting the series win. Let's kind of rebound back to where we were. This Brewers team have not been good as of late when it comes to, closing out series. One of their last 6 now for the Brewers. So, moments to, they split that series with Arizona, I suppose, but not protecting American Family Field in the way they have all year, certainly over the last few weeks. So, again, setting the tone in the right way in Pittsburgh, not an easy place to win. I know Pittsburgh, is not great, but they're playing better baseball as of late. Prior to tonight, 7-3 in their last 10 games. And I mentioned beating some good teams, beating some playoff teams. So the Pirates certainly have been playing better, but it's good to get the win in game 1 of a 3-game series and kind of set the tone going forward for the last 2 games of the series. Tom over on YouTube, if a Brewers pitcher goes a complete game this season, it'll be Quinn. I'll be shocked if a Brewers pitcher goes a complete game. I do not see it. We mentioned the Brewers bullpen. Pat Murphy, I think, is kind of playing the bigger pitcher game here, right? Not wanting, as we mentioned, Freddie Peralta, only 5 innings yesterday, kind of keeping an eye on a lot of these players' innings and their pitch count and whatnot. I do not foresee a Brewers pitcher, unfortunately, having the opportunity to go a complete game, but I will take 7. I will take 7, 6 or 7 innings, more consistently from Jose Quintana, from Freddie Peralta, from Brandon Woodruff. I don't think we're going to see Miz go past, a lot of those, 5th, 6th, 7th inning, certainly at this point in the season. But you got to lean on your veterans. Quinn Priester is one of them. Jose Quintana is another. I know Brandon Woodruff's coming back from a major injury, but these guys, Freddie Peralta is another one who we've seen go 6, right? Last Friday, he went 6 in Toronto. And that was a tone setter for that series, right? And I kind of go back to that series because it was a week ago. But the Brewers winning that first game kind of set the tone for that series. Obviously, a big win on Saturday after and kind of set themselves up for success going into Sunday, although they dropped that one. But set the tone early on these away 3-game series, right? And Pittsburgh, just because of the standings and where they're at right now, doesn't mean they're not playing for something. So it is important to get the big one this evening, and that's certainly what the Brewers did, a 5-2 win. Nick over on YouTube, Matt Arnold does not get enough credit for how much he was ridiculed for the Priester trade master stroke. Yeah, and Matt Arnold just doesn't really get a lot of credit, period. And I know a lot of people that necessarily aren't huge fans of the Brewers front office and certainly of the ownership. But Matt Arnold is one of those guys where I just feel like Brewers fans just don't give enough credit in general to it. And where would this team be without the depth this year? And a big part of that is the pro scouting department, right? Is the college scouting department, is the international scouting department, but it's also like having a good eye. And that's what Matt Arnold has. And that's what he's done. Like, where would this team be without, the depth, with all the injuries that they've sustained, not only in the positional players, but in the bullpen without, the job that Matt Arnold has done. You give credit also to the coaching staff. Manager Pat Murphy is part of that as well. We talked about, the AAA and the AA and the single A managers as well, and the importance that they're playing in helping get these players, pro ready. But Matt Arnold has done a fantastic job, guys, of putting this team in a great position to be successful all season long. There's going to be ebbs and flows. It's a fluid situation. Major League Baseball is a long season, but it does need to go. Being said that Matt Arnold continues to do one of the best jobs in all of baseball, where his back's kind of up against the wall and teams are out spending the Brewers, but he continues to make the moves that need to be made in order for this team to chase another National League Central Division title. Quinn Priester, part of Matt Arnold equation this evening. He goes 7 strong, just allowing those 2 earned runs crossing the plate. More importantly, the Brewers getting the 5-2 victory over the Pirates. 87-55 are our Brew Crew. Another early-ish game, depending on where you're watching tomorrow night in game 2. We will certainly break it all down after the last out is made. As always, my thanks to each and every single one of you for always tuning in. Thank you for always making Locked On Brewers part of your day each and every day. Again, free and available over on YouTube, free and available wherever you guys get audio podcasts. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, smash that thumbs up button for me. And if you want more, you can follow me on Twitter X now, I guess it's formerly Twitter, at Brandon_Snide. Follow all my work over at WTMJ.com. And after the last out tomorrow, we'll break it down once again, hopefully another Brewers victory. Nonetheless, win, lose, or draw, it is always go Brewers. Have a good one, everyone. See you.